You know, man, there is a lot of stuff going on in the world. You know, all kind of stuff going on in the public school system. And you might be saying, man, how can, you know, they be letting this happen? You think about the food we're eating. You know, all of these chemicals, they're showcasing how unhealthy it is. You know, food is not even really food anymore. All of this stuff being grown in labs and in GMO. And if you're somebody that recognizes this problem and you're wondering, man, what is the solution? Today, I've got a very profound, highly spiritual, divine message for you. Trust me, I can tell you, you know, in no Sunday worship in church will you ever hear this. Let's talk about it. All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another Righteous Spirit-filled episode. Today I'm back at it in them trenches handling that kingdom business. Man, there truly is a lot going on in the world. You know, all these wars about to break off. Seems like, you know, temperatures are getting hotter. You know, you can't even trust the food that we're eating. You know, you go to the grocery store, the price of eggs and meat, chicken is through the roof. Some places, you know, a dozen eggs, upwards of $12. You know, where just a couple years ago, you might have been able to get it for $3. And you're saying, man, what am I going to do about this? Interest rates are high. The prices of cars and houses, you can't even afford it. And I guarantee you, man, I don't care about what denomination, what religion or background you come from. If you believe in the Most High Yah, this divine message is for you. You know, you're not going to hear any of these religious pulpit pimps, Sunday worshiping teachers. You're not going to hear them ever say anything like this, because they're not truly going to hold you accountable for, you know, the struggle that you're living in. And this is the very profound and divine message. Okay. And if you want to hear this profound and divine message, this is what I want you to do. Man, I want you to hit that like button. You know, in the comments, I want you to type, I want to hear it, or type yes. I want to hear it, or yes. Okay. Subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on. That way you can see when I'm dropping new content. Okay. The divine message is, and if you are obedient, man, you've already got in the comments, you've already typed yes, or you've already typed, I want to hear it. You've already hit that like button. You've already subscribed to the channel. The divine message is, you've been sitting on your ass, waiting on God, waiting on the Most High, while he's sitting there waiting on you. That's the divine message. So profound. What do I mean by that? You might be in your life, you know, waiting on a miraculous word. You might be, you know, waiting on the good Lord. I'm waiting on the Lord. It's what a lot of the older people say. You know, well, we just gonna give it to Yah. A lot of these catchy phrases and slogans, you know, that make people feel comfortable with being complacent, with being lazy. And if you're somebody and you're struggling, you know, due to some of the circumstances that I said, man, I don't give a dang what your living circumstance is. There's a high probability that you could be doing something about it, but you're sitting around waiting on the Most High Yah as if he's going to give you a new word, when the word that he has already given you, should be the newness of your life, and you should be walking in it, but you ain't walking in it. Okay. You know, when it comes to the things happening in the public school system and you're complaining, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of these people out there call themselves world leaders and you know, politicians tell you need to get with your doggone city council and your school board. Flip that. That ain't the answer. The Most High Yah told you in his word to train up your children, not to go let them be taught by some doggone man or woman that identifies as a frog, don't even recognize how the Most High Yah created them. Come on, that's part of the problem. But guess what? You have to be a doer of the word to understand what I'm talking about. And that's why I said you sitting back waiting on God, and he's waiting on you, waiting on your lazy ass. You know, you worried about why your children are learning all of these abominable ways, and they're learning them because you yourself don't want to take, you know, any initiative and train them up the way that they should go. Guess what? When you pawn your children off on the world, they become freaking worldly. That's part of the problem. You wonder why your child come home and got all these doggone spirits on them. You got to think, you worried about getting some new makeup, getting a new wig, getting a new weave. You worried about putting some rims on the car, your NFL Sunday ticket. But guess what? You don't want to spend $300-400 of homeschooling books to homeschool your children. Well, women say, well, I got to work too. Well, dang, if your husband is paying all the bills and you got a good man and he's the provider, what you holding on to that job for? See, you really don't want to be free. You really don't want to be free. You want to be captive, but yet you want to sit around and wait on God to do something, and he's waiting on you. You know, man, for many years I was like a lot of the people that sit around and complain. You know, we got plenty of leaders in my community that say we need to come together and we need unity. You know, we could really have something. The reason we don't have anything, no. Even these people themselves, I don't give a dang who they are, they're not qualified to give you that message. You know why? Because they're not a doer of the word. They're telling you we need to grow our own food and do all this, but they themselves, ask them what fruit do they bear. They ain't growing no food. I don't give a dang if you are on an apartment. If you live in an apartment and got a balcony or a patio, you can grow you some food. What's stopping you from putting a couple pots out there, learning how to grow herbs, learning? But yet people don't want to do it. They just want to sit around and complain. Well, we need the FDA to do something. This shouldn't be legal. Have you not read the book? We live in a world of iniquity. These folk don't give a dang about what you think, but you got to do something to save yourself. And instead of saying, well, we got to come together. No, you get up off your ass. You get up off your ass and actually be a doer of the word. The word says, man, be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Therefore, you deceive yourself. So you don't deceive yourself. We got a lot of deceived people complaining. And if they spent half the time, you know, that they do complaining as being a doer of the word, you wouldn't have these problems. Mortgage rates off the charts. You know, I can't afford it. The prices of vehicles and all of this. See, man, you can never outwork a covetous spirit. When you wake up and your spirit is covetous towards you getting out there working just so you can have something that somebody else has and you really don't enjoy it yourself, man, you living your life trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's not the way the Most High, he told you to love not the things of the world. He told you in his word, build ye houses and plant ye gardens, live in them and thereof eat in them. But yet, what kind of ways do? We ain't building no house. We let somebody else sit up and build it. And you're gonna continue to struggle until you obey his word. This is not a collective thing. It's not like you and your whole family, well, when my whole family gets ready, I'm gonna obey the word. No, hell, that's an excuse. That's an excuse you use to justify your own laziness. Well, if I just had somebody to do it with me, there may not be anybody else that's gonna do it with you. When you think, man, there may be one from a family that's saved. Think about Lot. There might be one from a family that's freaking saved, and you waiting on this whole movement of the black community. Man, I'm here to tell you that a lot of these folks that's complaining don't have what it takes. They don't have what it takes. You sitting here complaining about the price of eggs, but okay, man, you can order you some chickens. They'll deliver them to you to the mail. If you know, depending on where you live, you can have these chickens, but guess what? You're looking for a new house potentially in the doggone city that won't allow you to be self-sustaining. And you want somebody to feel sorry for you because you struggling. I understand that everybody can't come out in the same timeline. But, you know, if you've got the word of the Most High Yah and you call yourself walking in truth and there's been no change in your life for the last 4 or 5 years, what are we talking about? Ain't no problem with the word. The word just fell on hard soil, which is your heart. The true intentions of your heart is not pure. You really don't even want to help yourself. Man, there's so much in that word that can set you free. I want you to think about it. You talking about everything is so expensive and how you can't afford nothing, but you're constantly trying to go into debt. The word says, man, the borrower is a servant to the lender. And you wonder why you stressed out? You don't have no problem financing this stuff rather than saving up your ducats and buying stuff cash. That way you don't have the stress of owing nobody. That way you don't have the stress of going to that mailbox and it ain't nothing but interest and bills. Come on. See, people don't want to hear anything profound. What people want is they want fair speech. They want to hear smooth words. They want to get their ears tickled. They want to hear, they want to be prophesied deceit. God is going to pave a way for you. You sitting back waiting on the Most High Yah, and he's sitting back waiting on your lazy ass. I don't give a dang what your pigmentation is, what your melanation is. I don't give a dang. You can't sit up and listen to all of these folks that's giving you these ear ticklish messages and no conviction is coming upon you. See, it's okay if you're offended by this message, but it convicts you. You see what I'm saying? The ones that obey the word, man, those are the ones that's gonna have prosperity. You sitting up here listening to these people, you got Bishop Marvin Sapp, or whatever that joker called himself, telling folk to sow a seed of $40,000, and I bet you his hind part ain't never sown no seed in no doggone soil like this. And they will keep you stuck, and you keep listening to these doggone deceivers. The Most High Yah told you in this world, many deceivers have gone into this world, and I'll show you there's a remnant out here that will get a pack of seeds planted in this doggone soil and bear good fruit from it, while these other people will have you struggling. The problem is you're looking for this life to be easy. You want life to be easy. You're looking for an easy option. I'm here today to tell you that you might be too lazy, and there ain't no easy option. There ain't no easy option. When I'm going to the store and buying chicken feed, 50-pound bags of chicken feed for my chickens that produce the eggs, that produce the meat, man, it ain't nothing easy about it. Look, every couple days, taking a bag over there, ain't nothing easy about it. But guess what? The wisdom of the word will show you another way, and you have to walk in it. I could get to the point where I don't even need chicken feed, but guess what I gotta do? I have to plant some different crops. That way the chickens can free range and eat off of the land, and I don't have to buy the feed. Ain't none of this easy. People want to sit on their ass and expect somebody to just, deliver your groceries. I want you to think. You would rather sit up in your house and watch Netflix, be an able-bodied, and let somebody go and select these trash groceries for you, and you pay an astronomical service fee, so you can sit up in the house and watch and catch up on your shows, and you wonder why you're struggling? Come on. You got the places you want to eat at, less a mile away from your house, and you got gas in your car, but you want to pay somebody 3 times what the food you ordering is worth for Uber Eats, and you wondering why you struggling? Ain't nobody listening to your foolishness. You need to get up off your lazy hind part and actually become a doer instead of a lip service worshiper. You sitting around waiting on the Most High Yah, and he's waiting on you. Man, it's crazy. You got all these different religions that, they will doggone have unity within their religion, but ain't nobody getting set free. Ain't nobody defeating the oppression of the world. Even in my community, I get a lot of people saying, man, are you a Hebrew Israelite? No, I ain't no doggone Hebrew Israelite. I'm an Israelite by lineage, but I'm not gonna be associated with these people that just get out there and march on the freaking corner, and they can come together and assimilate like that, but they won't get together and doggone get no land, raise some cattle for the freaking people, grow some doggone crops. They won't get off the grid, having solar. And man, I can't fool with them. I can't fool with them. No, I'm not no doggone Christian. No, I'm not no doggone Catholic. No, I'm not no doggone Hebrew Israelite. None of that crap. I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people really, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't really want to hear anything divine. The word says, man, it tells you reproofs are the way of life. Corrections are the way of life. But you want somebody to tickle your ears. You want somebody to give you them sweet nothings. Them sweet nothings, them words of R. Kelly. Them words of Bruno Mars. Them words that just make your flesh melt. But when you wake up and you come back to reality, you're still struggling. You're still struggling. You worried about not having no money, but every 2 years you're going to get a brand new car. You're going to finance a brand new car. Interest rates getting higher and higher, instead of pushing that old hoopty that got you from point A to B and not letting the doggone mortgage company or finance company own you. Man, a lot of this stuff that we go out and put ourselves into captivity, it owns us. Most High Yah wants you to come to him with your whole heart, but you try to give him that leftover portion of your heart, and you think that's good enough. Well, I'm just going to sit around and wait on the good Lord. He's waiting on you. Question is, what are you gonna do about it? You didn't let everybody else up in your house. Everybody else up in your house got a key to your house, boyfriend, girlfriends, your freaking side dude, your side piece. Everybody else got a key and access to your life, and you let them in, no questions asked. Hasatan, you let them in your life, no questions asked. Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, is outside knocking on the door. And you know what? You looking through the blinds like he the bill collector, like he's coming to evict you. Oh, there go 12. Today I told you I was gonna tell you something divine. Told you I was gonna tell you something highly spiritual. That was gonna give you a revelation. And oftentimes what people don't realize is they want to hear stuff that seems very complex. But the ways of the Most High Yah, they're not complex at all. They're very simple, but the most complex thing about it is, will you obey? That's as complicated as it gets. Will you obey? None of these paths in life that lead to prosperity are going to be easy. But as long as you are sitting on your ass, there will be no prosperity. That's why you got so many folks scamming today while claiming a religion. Will scam you in a heartbeat. Turn the other cheek and just forgive me, brother. I know I said I would give you that money back, but just have it in your heart to forgive me. See, you following these double-minded people. They're unstable in all their ways. You're following these religious institutions where their whole organization, their whole church structure is ran like a business. Everything is financed. They own nothing. They don't grow nothing. They can't provide for themselves. They can't sustain nothing. COVID hit, you would think all these people that was walking in truth in these religious institutions, they should have already known the way. Well, let me grow some food. You know, let me go to the church and help keep the garden, and we can get food for the people. We can have a way for ourselves, but you're not seeing that. You're not seeing the evidence of the true ecclesia. The word tells you the Most High Yah does not dwell in temples made by the hands of man. He tells you, but you are the temple of the living Elohim. But yet you steady running to these places of worship. Steady running and they ain't helping you. Steady, they tickling your ears. You waiting on the Most High Yah to send your husband, instead of doing what you need to do to have the right spirit that will attract the husband. See, these folk will lie to you. Just to sell you a book, just to tell you to sow some fiat currency, which they call a seed. Plant $1 in this doggone ground and see if it grows. These doggone Hellenistic Negroes is lying to you. Y'all better wake up, man. Closer to y'all ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight.